Hi and welcome everyone. Tennis-specific muscle training while trying to learn some examples of North American estuaries. The exercises are adjusted for me, so if you follow along with the exercises, that is at your own risk. The examples of the estuaries of North America listed here are Columbia River Estuary, St. Lawrence Estuary, Great Bay, Delaware Bay, San Francisco Bay, Sarasota Bay, Tampa Bay, Lake Merritt, East River, Mississippi Delta, and Lake Pontchartrain. And the first one is the Columbia River Estuary. Columbia River Estuary. Columbia River Estuary. The first estuary of North America here on this list. Columbia River Estuary. Columbia River Estuary. Columbia River Estuary. Next one is St. Lawrence Estuary. Columbia River Estuary and St. Lawrence Estuary. St. Lawrence Estuary. Columbia River Estuary, St. Lawrence Estuary. Columbia River Estuary, St. Lawrence Estuary. And the next one, the Great Bay. The Great Bay. Columbia River Estuary, St. Lawrence Estuary. And now, the Great Bay. Great Bay. Columbia River Estuary, St. Lawrence Estuary, and Great Bay. And the next one, Delaware Bay. Delaware Bay. Great Bay and then Delaware Bay. Columbia River Estuary, St. Lawrence Estuary, Great Bay, Delaware Bay. Columbia River Estuary, St. Lawrence Estuary, Great Bay and Delaware Bay. Columbia River Estuary, St. Lawrence Estuary, Great Bay and Delaware Bay. Next one, San Francisco Bay. San Francisco Bay. Great Bay, Delaware Bay, and San Francisco Bay. Great Bay, Delaware Bay, San Francisco Bay. Columbia River Estuary. St. Lawrence Estuary, Great Bay, Delaware Bay, and San Francisco Bay. Columbia River Estuary, St. Lawrence Estuary, Great Bay, Delaware Bay, San Francisco Bay. Columbia River Estuary, St. Lawrence Estuary, Great Bay, Delaware Bay, San Francisco Bay, and Sarasota Bay. Sarasota Bay. Sarasota Bay. Sarasota Bay. Columbia River Estuary, St. Lawrence Estuary, Columbia River Estuary, St. Lawrence Estuary, Great Bay, Delaware Bay, San Francisco Bay, and Sarasota Bay. Columbia River Bay, St. Lawrence, Columbia River Estuary, St. Lawrence Estuary, Great Bay, Delaware Bay, San Francisco Bay, and Sarasota Bay. And now Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay. Columbia River Estuary, St. Lawrence Estuary. Great Bay, Delaware Bay, San Francisco Bay, Sarasota Bay, and Tampa Bay. Columbia River Bay, Columbia River Estuary. Columbia River Estuary, St. Lawrence Estuary. Great Bay, Delaware Bay, San Francisco Bay, Sarasota Bay, and Tampa Bay. Columbia River Estuary, St. Lawrence Estuary, Greater Bay, Delaware Bay, San Francisco Bay, Sarasota Bay, Tampa Bay. Next one. Lake Merritt and East River. Lake Merritt and East River. Lake Merritt and East River. Columbia River Estuary, St. Lawrence Estuary, Great Bay, Delaware Bay, San Francisco Bay, Sarasota Bay, Tampa Bay. Lake Merritt, East River. Columbia River Estuary, St. Lawrence Estuary. Greater Bay, Delaware Bay, San Francisco Bay, Sarasota Bay, Tampa Bay, Lake Merritt, East River. And the last two, Mississippi Delta and Lake Pontchartrain. Lake Pontchartrain. Mississippi Delta and Lake Pontchartrain. Pontchartrain. Lake Pontchartrain. Columbia River Estuary, St. Lawrence Estuary. Great Bay, Delaware Bay, San Francisco Bay, Sarasota Bay, Tampa Bay. Lake Merritt, East River. Mississippi Delta and Lake Pontchartrain. Columbia River Estuary, St. Lawrence Estuary, Great Bay, Delaware Bay, San Francisco Bay, Sarasota Bay, Tampa Bay. Lake Merritt, East River, Mississippi Delta and Lake Pontchartrain. And the last exercise. Columbia River Estuary, St. Lawrence Estuary, Great Bay, Delaware Bay, San Francisco Bay, Sarasota Bay, Tampa Bay, Lake Merritt, East River, Mississippi Delta, and Lake Pontchartrain. So, examples of estuaries in North America. And estuaries are a body of water lying at the coast, and water comes from a river into that body of water, but that body of water is also open to the ocean, so that inside that body of water, this estuary is some water from the ocean and some from the river. Salt water from the ocean and fresh water from the river, brackish water. So an estuary is just a body of water lying at the coast, and at one side it's open to the ocean, so water from the ocean can come into this estuary, but there's also a river flowing into it, or more than one river. So there comes fresh water from the rivers and salt water from the ocean, and this body of water lying partly almost in the ocean and also getting water from rivers, partly being the end of the rivers, has water with salt from the ocean and fresh water with very little salt, almost no salt, from the country, from the rivers. Columbia River Estuary, St. Lawrence Estuary, Great Bay, Delaware Bay, San Francisco Bay, Sarasota Bay, Tampa Bay, Lake Merritt, East End, Mississippi Delta, and Lake Pontchartrain. These are estuaries, a body of water lying at the end of a river where the river comes into the ocean, and there is already water from the ocean inside this body of water because it lies just where there comes something from the sea, from the ocean water into that estuary, but there's also the river coming into that estuary. These are examples of them. Thank you very much for your attention, and until the next time.